Growing up in the United States, I remember people were pretty aware of natural disasters in their part of the country. Where I grew up in Ohio, it was tornadoes, and there were some summer nights where we would be down in the basement just in case a tornado came by. Other parts of the country have hurricanes or other types of natural disasters. And there were times when people actually wanted to move. They were considering, what were the natural disasters in this place that we want to move to? And if you're looking at moving overseas or spending part of your time in a place overseas, you might want to consider natural disasters. I'm going to share with you some of the safest and least safe countries from a natural disaster standpoint. Hi, I'm Andrew Henderson, and over the last dozen or so years, I've traveled all around the world to build my own network of experts and built a team of almost 30 people who help 7- and 8-figure entrepreneurs legally go where they're treated best. Those are the 5 magic words. Learn more at nomadcapitalist.com. And let's talk today about natural disasters. If you're going to be living overseas, if you're going to be traveling overseas, if you're going to be living my Nomad Capitalist trifecta lifestyle where you spend your time in a couple of different homes over the course of the year, you want to be aware that you're not getting into some kind of sticky situation. I've had increasing numbers of people ask me as they're putting together their plan B options, how do we make sure we avoid natural disasters? And so there's actually a report that is produced every year by one of the UN letter agencies called the World Risk Report. And one of the things they analyze is 28 different kinds of risks like natural disasters from cyclones, typhoons, hurricanes, volcano eruptions, all those kinds of things. And they rank countries from most prone to natural disasters to least prone. And so some of the highest risk countries in the world include the Philippines. I've been in the Philippines right before a big storm is going to come through. It is scary. Vanuatu, another chain of islands. Costa Rica, Chile, and Mauritius. Those are 5 countries that score towards the bottom of the list that are sometimes of interest to Nomad Capitalists. They're tax-friendly countries or they're livable countries that people are interested in. So those are 5 countries you might have thought about that scored poorly. But let's talk about the countries that did well. And what's interesting is a lot of the countries that did the best are actually in the Gulf region, where most countries don't have an income tax. Number 1, the least disaster prone, the least natural disaster risk country in the world is actually the state of Qatar. And very friendly tax policies in Qatar. Certainly not a place that a lot of people go as entrepreneurs or to start businesses because it is a little sleepier than neighboring Dubai or even Oman, for example. But they are number 1 on the list. Number 3 on the list, Saudi Arabia. Again, a country more favored by expats, but it is opening up to people who want to start businesses. You can now buy a permanent residence permit in Saudi Arabia. They are opening up more and more to visitors and trying to liberalize and trying to diversify their economy. It might be a country to watch in the coming years, and it is number 3 on the list of countries least likely to have a natural disaster. Number 7, Bahrain. We've talked recently about how they have a more easy residence program for business owners. If you buy some real estate, put some money in the bank, it's a tax-free country. It's probably the most liberal country in the region. Not a terrible place to live, particularly with a family. Not a bad plan B option to have in your back pocket. Buy a property. You have a tax-free, very natural disaster-friendly place to go. Could be just a place to keep in your back pocket by making a small investment. Number 9, also in the Gulf, the United Arab Emirates, of course, home to Dubai and Abu Dhabi. I'd say, the difference between number 1 and number 9 can't be that much different. So if you like the idea of starting a company, buying some real estate, getting a residence permit, living tax-free, Dubai and the UAE may not be a bad place to go, and you can pretty much stay free of any natural disaster. So that is the Gulf region. Let's talk about Europe. Number 2 on the list, right after Qatar, is a country that is relatively well known in the Nomad Capitalist circle, and that's Malta. Now you might be surprised, 2 tiny little islands down there in the Mediterranean, you'd think that that would be a problem, but the UN report actually lists them as the 2nd least likely country to have natural disasters. Now they have a residence by investment program, they have a citizenship by investment program, they have a relatively tax-friendly, if not rather complex, corporate structure for global businesses and people who live in Europe. And so Malta, not a terrible place to live if you're looking to avoid natural disasters. You want that Mediterranean lifestyle. It comes in at number 2. Number 16 on the list, kind of on the opposite side of Europe, is Estonia, another country known in nomad capitalist circles for their work to attract digital nomads, for their cool, perhaps not so workable e-residence program. I love Estonia, and I think it's a fascinating place. And if you're not so much into the Mediterranean and that island vibe, I think Estonia is interesting, albeit rather cold for much of the year. I like it. I like what the government's done. I think some of the things have been a little bit aggressively promoted. And certainly second citizenship in the country is not going to be that easy to obtain unless you want to learn Estonian and spend quite a bit of your time there. But as a place to live, it may not be a bad place to do that. And you could start a company and you can move to Estonia and take advantage of relatively favorable tax rules. It's not zero, but you can pay zero potentially for quite a while. And you can live in Estonia and benefit from the 16th lowest natural disaster risk in the world. Number 17, Switzerland. Obviously a country in the minds of a lot of ultra high net worth individuals for the years with their lump sum tax program. You can pay several $100,000 Swiss francs up to in the millions of Swiss francs as a flat tax and then just be left alone. Great quality of life, fast internet. People like the idea of Switzerland, and considering their position on the map, number 17 on the world for avoiding natural disasters. So not a bad addition to all the other benefits. Number 22 is Cyprus. Again, you think, okay, I'm a little bit further east in the Mediterranean. I'm looking at an island. Really? Number 22? Well, that's what the report says. So Cyprus has no longer a citizenship by investment program, but they do have a residence by investment program. We'll see how long that stays around. They have been known as a relatively tax-friendly place to start your company. Depending on what kind of company you have, you can potentially get tax rates down into the single digits. If you're in the tech space, for example, not the worst place to live if you like, again, that Mediterranean living, something that's a bit more rocky, a bit more earthy, kind of how I feel it compared to Malta or other parts of the Mediterranean. Lots of interesting, villas. You've got a British influence. You've got, different people who come to Cyprus from all over Europe. So they come in at number 22. Now, if you don't want to live in Europe, if you don't want to live in the Gulf, you can live in Asia. One country of interest to Nomad Capitalist ranks in the top 25, and that is Singapore, coming in at number 13. Singapore, obviously, again, relatively tax-friendly country. You can start a business. It is harder now to start a business and get a residence permit. It is more expensive now to invest and become a resident. You are likely not going to be a Singaporean citizen these days, but great place to live, great tax benefits for a lot of ultra high net worth individuals, very workable place, low corruption, almost no corruption. Everything just works. Everything seems very harmonious. Singapore comes in at number 13. In the Americas, two countries that you probably wouldn't suspect actually make the list. Number 4, Barbados, and number 5, Grenada. Now, Barbados has increasingly become an interesting place to look at for having a business. They've harmonized their offshore tax regime with rates that actually start in the single digits and then go down. Imagine, the more money you make, the less your tax rate is. Now, I'm not saying that everyone should go and incorporate in Barbados, but for some people, it happens to make sense. They've got some interesting opportunities to live in the country. They've got interesting tax treaties. And so could be a place in the Caribbean that's worth living or planting a flag. Number 5, Grenada, one of the more interesting citizenship by investment program options where you can donate $150,000 and get citizenship in Grenada. Access to Russia and China. And of course, if you're a citizen, you can actually go and live there. And so what's interesting is I had a conversation with a gentleman a couple months ago who was putting together a whole portfolio of citizenships for his plan B. He wanted to have lots of places to go, and he liked the fact that the Caribbean islands that offer citizenship by investment were not likely to be chasing him around the world anytime soon for citizenship-based taxation. He was from a Western country. He was concerned that they're going to become more aggressive with tax, and he wanted to be a Caribbean citizen, but he specifically liked Grenada because it often misses a lot of the bad weather that goes and hits Antigua, for example, which very unfortunately got hit a couple of years ago, or St. Kitts. We saw some of the first round of Caribbean citizenship discounts a couple of years ago due to the hurricanes. Of Grenada, according to the report, fares a lot better than those other countries. And so if you're looking for a citizenship by investment that has lower prevalence for natural disasters, Grenada ranks very highly on the report. Now, I want you to tell me which of those countries you are most interested in. Leave a comment below. Which natural disasters concern you the most? How have you planned your life to avoid them? Which one of these countries speaks to you or that you would like to live in? I can tell you, the benefit of the trifecta lifestyle that I personally live and having different hubs around the world is that you can avoid the worst weather in different places. I don't want to be in Southeast Asia for the entire rainy season, for example. I don't want to be in a place that's really cold for the entire winter. I might go there for 2 weeks and get my taste of winter. I don't want to have any inclement weather or extreme weather. And so I think you can build your life around places where there may be certain types of weather, certain types of the year. If it's hurricanes, maybe you're somewhere else for that part of the year. But if you're looking for one place to live, or if you want to spread your life out, those are definitely some countries that you might want to consider if disasters are of concern to you. How can Nomad Capitalist help you? 4 ways. Number 1, subscribe to our channel and click the notification bell to make sure you get our new video every day. Number 2, get a copy of Nomad Capitalist, the book. You'll learn a lot of my personal experiences over a dozen years of studying this stuff, as well as exactly some of the strategies that you can use to build your Nomad Capitalist plan. Number 3, if you're not sure where to start, but you want to come and learn from my team and I, you want to come and mingle with like-minded people, learn more about our live conference, Nomad Capitalist Live. It's coming up soon. And number 4, if you want some help right now because you've got a burning issue, you need something solved, you want to lower your taxes, get a second passport, or build the Nomad Capitalist lifestyle of your dreams, go to nomadcapitalist.com and click on Become a Client.